Madam Secretary, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Watched the State of the Union. I was in my hotel room. You were there in person.
Absolutely. Front row.
Front row. Was that? Now, you've been to a couple of those, I assume.
I have. I certainly, well, last year, which was not really the State of the Union, but the first, few months. But I did in the last administration. I served in Congress, so certainly went when the former president was there.
Let me ask you just broadly, having attended a couple of those with another president, the reaction, frankly, and some who just didn't go at all, and those who did show up and maybe sat on their hands for issues that you would think would be universally popular amongst Americans. Were you kind of taken aback by that?
Well, you get disappointed, I think. Certainly, we knew who the president was going to be honoring. So many heroes, as you saw last night. It can get emotional, too. You sit there. I was able to meet some of the guests. Little Millie from the Mystic Camp. I met her yesterday afternoon. To just see her up there with her family and, give a fist pump to the serviceman who saved her life. How do you not stand for those things? And I know some chose not to. But again, I attended as a Republican member of Congress when President Biden was there. And you stand for the American people. You might not agree on all policy, but you certainly don't just do it because you don't like the president in office. And I don't think that's good for any American to see. So I was disappointed. You just shake your head and think, it's not right, and they shouldn't do it.
I don't know that necessarily everyone could define your role specifically as Secretary of Labor. Can you talk about it in kind of its broad 30,000-foot view? What do you dial in on every day that maybe people don't understand?
Yeah, well, most people will say the exact question that you asked. What does Secretary of Labor actually do?
What do you do?
But we do a lot. But most of the time that people will say, well, what is it? It's dealing with the American workforce. Understanding from beginning to end that we educate their workforce. We protect them through their work life, which can be oftentimes from 16 all the way to 65. And then we protect them in their retirement all the way through. So we do a lot with retirement, 401ks, right through the employee benefits. So we work with our companies. We work with the employers as well. So we have a lot of agencies at the Department of Labor, but really it's one of the agencies that touches an American really from the time that they're born all the way through retirement.
So you're talking to the Social Security Administration. You're talking to CMS and Dr. Oz.
Absolutely. On everything that can happen when we're talking about employee benefits. But we have OSHA, MSHA, the Mine Health Safety. We talk about our employee benefits. We talk about employment and training, which is really the focus that I love to talk about today, is training our future workforce in America. I work very closely with Small Business Administration. What are the market demands? What are small businesses needing? Who are the workforce that they're needing? What's happening with AI? How are we understanding that? There's so many things. I work with education.
I was going to say, I bet this has come up with Secretary McMahon a lot.
That's right. We have an MOU together, Memorandum of Understanding, to streamline the workforce. So we are saying we can deploy the dollars. They're our future workers. Let's get them trained. Maybe not everybody's going to get a 4-year degree. We're going to get a 2-year degree, working with our community colleges. So all the employment training through our Workforce Investment Opportunity Act that Congress determines, we get those dollars out to our states to say, how are we prepared for the future of America? People can have mortgage-paying jobs, and the America First policies are delivered to the American workforce. That's my job.
Talking about the American workforce, I have heard it said, I don't know the stats myself, I know Elon Musk has pointed out a lot, we got to start making babies in this country. Is that a concern unto itself? Never mind the jobs, the available jobs that you often hear people say Americans won't do. I don't know if you believe that or not, but are there a lot of jobs that we just simply can't fill because we either don't have the people or people aren't interested in doing the work?
Well, there's certainly a couple of things I think we can address through that. One, we do want to have our workforce grow, and that is going to be the future Americans. We want to see the population grow, and we do understand that women and families are having less children along the way. So how do we account for that? We have to make sure that we're enticing people. So look at the Trump accounts. Look at what the president has done. Pro-family policies that remind them that it's okay to have a family that you can afford. How do we help that? Mortgage-paying jobs. We want people to have one job. We don't want people to have 3 jobs. We want people to have 1 job. And we want those wages to go up. So we want to have a skilled workforce so that they can understand. I was a former mayor. I don't know if you have a family. I have a family. You focus on that. You get up every morning. You make sure that they're safe. You send them off to school or to daycare, or you stay home if that's what you choose. And you provide for them. You come home at night. You lock your door. You want to make sure that they're safe, and you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's what we can do at the Department of Labor to have that skilled workforce for the market demands of today. So people have flexibility and a choice. And that's the American dream. People can be homeowners, business owners, car owners. We saw the president talk about that. How do we do that? Keep prices low. Mortgage rates are down. Inflation is down. Consumer confidence is up. Wages are up. Investments in companies are growing. So all of those things are the promises made, promises kept by this president when they elected him last year.
When you talk about the labor force, what did the wide open borders under the previous administration mean to this workforce, or the workforce globally, or I guess here in the nation? And then when the borders instantly closed, I've heard it said that it's the wages of so many workers in the country, legal workers in the country, that are depressed when you have an influx of folks who are here illegally. Is that true? Have you found that true?
I think there can be a component of that. Certainly, we saw the wide open borders. Nobody wanted that. The president was the first thing he did was secure those borders, and we heard it last night. There is nobody crossing illegally. We like legal immigration. We want people to come across legally. We want to know who's in our country. We want to protect our Americans.
Could I talk to you about that legal point? And don't forget your spot. We need legal immigrants to work based on what you've just said about our population decline. We need immigrants to come to the country legally to do work too. True?
That's right. And we want to make sure that we're assisting our companies and our businesses and our employers compliance. We want them. We want integrity in a lot of the programs that we offer. We do offer the visa programs. I work with Homeland, Department of Labor, and Department of State to issue H-1B, H-2B, H-2A. We know that there's a workforce that's necessary through legal immigration and through legal visas. We want to make sure there's integrity to those programs. Congress makes the laws, we enforce the laws. So we work I created an Office of Immigration Policy right at the Department of Labor so that we can offer that assistance so that businesses know what they're getting into, they know what they're doing, ease in application, flexibility in doing so, lower costs, staggered entry. All of that comes through the Department of Labor and working with the Department of Homeland. So that's one way. Integrity of those programs that they're intended to do. Two, for growing the workforce, we know that 50,000 new jobs every single month is good for the population that we have today. We've blown that out of the park every single month. The president talked about it last night. We've seen the hundreds of thousands of new jobs that have been created since he became the president. And the private sector, less government jobs that we've seen under the previous administration. We wanted to make sure we had private sector jobs. Public-private partnerships, work on that all the time. Get the hundreds of millions of dollars out for the skilled workforce, making sure that we have our tradesmen and women who built this country. Understanding not everybody's going to get a four-year degree. How do we have a skilled workforce? When an electrician or a welder can come out with a degree and make $180,000 or $200,000 every single year, and we know that we need 500,000 new electricians, we've got some work to do. So I'm working with our respective states.
If you're a betting woman, talk to somebody that's in their late teens, early 20s, and they're thinking, do I go off to an expensive four-year institution, or should I pursue the trades? If you're a betting woman, is the money on getting into trade work, jobs that a lot of people maybe wouldn't necessarily pursue, but seem to be paying the most right now? Is that what you'd say the future holds for a lot of younger people?
Absolutely. If you did not see yourself going to a four-year university and coming out in a lot of debt and not understanding if you're going to have a job, know that the American people, this president, this administration, this Department of Labor is here to help you get skilled so that you can have whatever job that you choose. That is what is exciting, and you can have again, mortgage paying job, not just a good paying job. We want you to be able to afford your first home. We want to help you do that. We want to help you with childcare, understanding that that's one of the biggest issues I hear across the country. How are we going to afford childcare? So people are choosing not to have more children based on that. We want to make sure that we're understanding that. Expansion of Pell Grants helps that. Expansion of the child tax credit helps that. Every Democrat last night did not vote for the expansion of child tax credits when they say they care about the American people. So there's so many things that we can do and be allies of the American workforce and not adversaries. And it's been the president who has said to me and to many of us secretaries, get out and talk to the American people. Go see what they need, go see what they want. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. When I talk to this, go out to a part of the country where a lot of it is service work and they need that no tax on tips, and it can help expand their business, or maybe as an employee, they're like, oh my gosh, I can keep more of my hard-earned dollars. Law enforcement, overtime, construction jobs like the overtime. They want to have the flexibility in choosing what they want to do. So there's so much that the president has laid out, and now the first year we've laid the groundwork, we're seeing it start to come to fruition. This next year is going to be great for the American people.
I'll close by asking you this. I'm always interested when I see the president host the cabinet secretaries and calls on you one at a time. You're in the room, you're sitting around the table. What is that experience? Are you listening and learning from your fellow secretaries? Are you thinking, well, if he calls on me, I've got to be ready with it? What's going through one's mind in a room like that, I wonder?
Well, we certainly love working for the president. I think when we were all tasked to do this job, we knew that the mission was, and that was help him deliver what he promised the American people. So I don't think there was a surprise in what our mission was and what our goal was. Two, we all worked together. So you're seeing that for the first time. Agencies work together.
I do not remember in 4 years of Joe Biden, and really, I can't really remember the way I've seen you all assembled and communicating and working together.
And that's been at the president's leadership. Go out and talk to the American people and make sure if you need help in a certain agency, work together. So I talk to my fellow secretaries and say, what are you working on? How do we do better at that? And can we assist each other in that? So that's working. And then, of course, if he calls on us, of course we're prepared to deliver our remarks based on the work that we have done. We have a lot of executive orders. First executive order, 1 million active apprentices. Do you not think I'm going to tell the president we're at 330,000 new ones? Because that's what he wants to see. That 2,900 companies have registered now with the Department of Labor of their programs for that. I'm not going to let him know that I'm out visiting, mines and understanding that energy dominance is important. Then I can talk to Secretary Wright and say, you know what, the policies you're putting in place are good. Permitting reform, deregulation saves money, and so ultimately it saves for the American taxpayer. So we're all working in conjunction. We're all working very hard, but we cannot do that unless we're on the ground talking to the American people.
Yeah, that's the impression that I was left with, that most of you seem to like one another, like working together. You have a shared mission and purpose. I mean, you're all different people, obviously, but even today in these conversations, I will see you all exchanging thoughts privately offline. I don't recall either I didn't pay attention to it or it really didn't exist before, but there seems to be that vibe in this room today anyway.
Yeah, well, that's how it is every day. We all were so excited last night. You saw us walk in together. We walk in line of succession. That's how we sit to the president.
What about that? Where are you? Where's the Secretary of Labor in succession?
I'm number 11th in line to the president. So I sit between Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce, and then Bobby Kennedy for Secretary of HHS. So,
that's you're in between those two?
Yeah, so I sit there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you know what? A couple of things. One, it's an honor. Two, we walk in together. And three, afterward, we all shared dinner last night afterward too to talk about this.
Cool.
So again, these are the important times to understand that we're all working for the American people first, and it's been at the leadership of the president. It's an exciting time. It's an honor to do it. We know we're on a small calendar to get it all done, and so we all work as hard as the president, and he lays the groundwork for us. I mean, he goes nonstop, as you very well know, and he expects the secretaries to do the same.
Well, Madam Secretary, it's been nice to get to know you. I hope we can have you back on the show.
I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you.